business law has been a class that we've been required to take by UNF, but it's one of the most valuable classes you can ever take in your life. Three takeaways that I've learned in business law have been the potential legal issues that companies will face. If you're a manager, employee, lawyer, HR, from every department, you're going to have a legal issue that you're going to have to tackle. For example, there's going to be discrimination claims. There's going to be contract disputes. There's going to be patent excuse patent excuses. You have legal liability and compensation. So there's every realm of where you work at is going to have a legal issue, and it really helped me understand all the legal challenges that businesses face and making smart decisions towards them. How do you fix them? Do you go to another department? Do you read the contract? Do you reread the contract to make sure it says what it really does say, and making sure that everyone is on the same page? Because a lot of business law, one of the issues, if the contract's not right and it's not in writing, there's a huge problem. My second takeaway is, like I said earlier, handling contracts and legal agreements. The one thing I've learned in this class from case studies, from discussion boards, and from other assignments is put it in writing. If the contract is not in writing, there's a huge problem. Verbal agreements, obviously, verbal agreements do work in certain cases, but having it in writing really helps, and really, where there's no dispute. If it's in writing, and if it's in writing and it can get done, there's a legal documentation of it, it's really good. My third and final takeaway is be aware of the regulations. Certain industries, it's particularly the food and other strict industries where you have a huge regulation. If you don't follow those regulations, as we've seen with some companies in the case studies and discussion boards we have had to shut down or have spent millions and millions of dollars in compensations just because they weren't following the regulations that Congress and the government had in place for them for their industry. For example, I'm in the sports industry, so our regulations aren't as strict as some of the other industries, but there's still some sports industries, for example, contracts, guaranteed money, and things of that nature. Second, two issues that businesses face in the legal realm is trademark and copyright. Trademark and copyright can be some of the biggest issues that companies face day to day. And the question is, how do you solve those trademark and copyright issues? One, let's address trademark. Trademarks, trademarks, you can patent a trademark. If you don't do it, a lot of companies do it, patent a trademark so no one's using it. And if they do use it, you can sue. If you take it from the business realm, if you take it from the top, you need to patent your trademark. Second is copyright. Copyright is something that we've talked about in the class, and people are experiencing more often with the rise of social media, YouTube, Twitter, using someone's work without adding anything to it. Yeah, that's a quick way to get yourself in copyright. Question is also to that is, how do you solve it? You use the on right to use under the video. For example, on YouTube, you can take a video that another creator has created, and you could use it, but you have to add something to it, commentary, an opinion, something to it. Something has to be done so you're not just copying the original video. Second thing that a lot of companies and businesses struggle with the legal department, some of the biggest issues, is discrimination and harassment. Discrimination and harassment, particularly in the last 10 years, have been taken a lot more seriously. There's almost a huge zero tolerance policy for discrimination and harassment. Discrimination and harassment can happen from top to bottom. Anyone can experience discrimination and harassment, so it's very important to know those rights. Then the question also comes up of, how do you solve discrimination and harassment? Well, one, educating your employees. There's certain examples of harassment and discrimination where the employee doesn't even know. The employee doesn't know that this is a part of the discrimination or harassment claim. Stuff you say maybe outside the workplace might be interpreted wrong by someone, and then that's a discrimination harassment claim right there, where you could have avoided it by just educating them. Number two is a written policy. Just like contracts, having them in writing is very important. Discrimination harassment laws and having those standards in place are very important. Just to know that it's in writing, so you know what to do. When you hire someone, show them the contract, show them the paper of what we're going to do and what is and is not harassment, and discrimination. And lastly, team building. A huge way to maybe cut down on the harassment and the difficulties of working in a team environment is team building. Obviously, some activities as of recently have have been a little have been a little kind of iffy, but team building does a really good job of getting people together, and when people get along, harassment tends to be less most of the time. And one valuable lesson that I would employ all my fellow business law students and classmates to take into account and to take away from this class is business law deals with contracts, they deal with legal obligations and all the other stuff, but there's also a huge society component to it. Business ethics and responsibility are huge, and we studied that in chapter one. So we kind of know what that is, and other classes we have to study it too. But the ethics and responsibility is making sure you're doing things the right way. What is the right way? In the legal right sense of the way. No discrimination, no harassment, and just creating a more, you know, a better environment, treating people with respect, having a great work environment so people feel welcomed, and that's how you do it. Thank you very much.